Hey guys, Jane Alton here once again, and I'm gonna talk today. I don't know. I was gonna talk about how I'm kind of kissed from the sun, but then I also started talking about what I'm gonna talk about in the same motion, so I kind of mixed up. Sorry, I'm gonna start again. Hey guys, Jane Alton here once again. I'm going to tease what I'm going to talk about, which is about a foreigner who is kind of, how can I say, giving a case against herself about why the PR changes are necessary. But first, I'm going to talk about how I conquered a fear today. Now, you might laugh. However, today I went swimming for the first time in more than 10 years because I have a phobia of putting my face underwater. I absolutely hate it. I When I swim, I try to keep my face out of the water as much as possible, but my wife has been nagging me again and again and again because I should take my daughter to the swimming pool because my daughter loves swimming and she's been going with her grandparents and my wife a lot. And her dream is that daddy takes her too. So today I finally took the plunge and we went to the Funabashi Undo Koen pool, which, to be fair, considering it's a government pool, like a city pool, it was incredible. There was like three pools. There was like a nagare pool, which is like where you go in like a circle and it's all going around. They had like three different water slides. They had this kind of mountain that kids can climb with a rope that water's all shooting down and then they slide down at the end. Considering it's like a government thing, it is pretty incredible. So I might look a little bit brown, a little bit red. Watch this. Look at the difference there. Oh my Jesus. The life of being a ginger. However, enough about me and more about somebody else. So, I'm going to talk about a person who lives in Japan who I've actually talked about before. Now, I'm going to put her name on there because I don't want to misrepresent somebody and I want to show exactly, and I'm not complaining about this person. I'm not going to insult this person. I'm not going to slag off this person. She has every right to talk about what she talks about and how she feels, and I'm not going to judge that. We're all free to say what we want. However, she has been one of the most vocal people when it comes to these PR changes and about how cruel they are on Twitter. At least I sometimes like click on Twitter every couple of days just to see if there's something worth talking about. And this tweet went, I was going to say viral, but by the time someone clipped it, it only had about 800 views. It's probably on more now. But however, she works in the anime industry. And first of all, I do wanna say that good on you if you have a dream and you have a passion and you get to work within that industry. And I sense from her tweets that she loves anime. That's one of the reasons she came to Japan. So if you can work in that industry, then good on you because not many people get to work with something that they love. Well, as long as she loves the job. However, she has been very vocal about how it's not fair that the PR has been changed and she'll unlikely to be able to get it. And today she put a breakdown of her finances. And this is kind of, she shot herself in the foot. And this is one of the problems with places like Twitter, because a lot of people who are on Twitter are habitually online. And I think every single person who's always on Twitter ends up unraveling their own points by proving against themselves somehow. So basically, she put a breakdown on her finances. And it was quite interesting to see what she spends. And she said what salary that she needs to live on. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to keep it on the screen, maybe around here, as long as I'm not flipped. But I'm going to keep it on there. Her Twitter name is there if you want to go check her profile out and see her tweets for yourself. Again, this is not to be insulting. However, I do want to kind of talk seriously about some points here. The first thing, which is kind of something that infuriated me, again, not to insult, she put that her food is 70,000 yen a month. And she said that's risen 30% in the past 5 years. Now, I think there's probably not a person in the world whose food costs have risen 30% or more in the past 5 years. I mean, food is always going up in price. And especially since COVID, the war in Ukraine, the war in Iran, gas prices, oil prices, all of that has changed and food's got more expensive. But 70,000 yen for a single person is mad because I have a family of three, me, my wife, and my daughter. We all eat a lot. I'm just going to put that out there. We're all big eaters. Luckily, my wife and my daughter stay slim somehow, but I don't. We eat a lot and we don't spend 70,000 yen a month. And it's not about vegetables. We have lots of vegetables in our house. And they would a lot of the replies to the tweet were like, when you buy fruits and vegetables in Japan, it gets really expensive. It's like, no, 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 no. It's not that expensive. Mushrooms are cheap. Cucumbers are cheap. Sweet potatoes, you can get a bag of like 6 sweet potatoes at the moment for about 300 yen. Eggplants are like 5 for 200 yen. Avocados are like 100 yen each. Lettuce is like a whole lettuce for 100 yen. It's not that expensive. Now, if you want to buy like a watermelon every day, it's going to get expensive. But we live in Chiba, famous for its pears. There are pear farms everywhere. You can just buy from a stall just on the street. I think we got about 3 kilograms of pears for about 1,000 yen. And that lasts about a month because we just peel a couple at a time, cut them up. Me, my wife, and my daughter, and the dogs, we all love it. And yeah, it doesn't cost anywhere near 70,000. Now, if you're eating out a lot, it's probably going to get close to that. However, even for the three of us, if we can spend less than 70,000 or around 70,000 a month, then you can too. And that's including going to Costco twice a month. Now, if I do go to Costco twice a month, it might creep over to over 70, but that's not all food. It's also toiletries and stuff like that as well. Rent 50,000 now. That seems pretty good. That seems quite cheap. If it's a single room in Tokyo, to be honest, I think that's all you need. I've never really understood people who need lots of space. Like sometimes I see these American houses and I get like a panic attack thinking, how on earth would I even decorate or organize this house? There's too much space. When I was in university, I literally lived in a box. My university room was, I think, a little bit smaller than this. Now, I don't know if this is a 3.5 Joe tatami room. It's my office, and I could easily put a bed there if I wanted to. Livable. But 50,000 is pretty good. Dogs, 15,000 average. To be honest with you, I don't have massive complaints about this. I also have 2 dogs. Pet insurance for the 2 of them is about 6,500 a month. We've got to buy food and then their injections and their medicines and stuff like that. Probably averages out. Like when they get their Kyokembyo rabies and their other one, it's like a 5, like Goshu, something, something, something. What is it called? Korshu? I can't remember the name. Those injections cost about 25,000 yen together just for that one. And then you've got to get your kind of mites medicine when it gets to spring. That's pretty expensive. So the 50, and then obviously food as well. So the 15,000 for the dogs, I don't really have a problem. The next one, again, phone. 15,000 yen a month for phone. What on earth is she doing with her phone? Again, me and my wife, we both have phones, obviously, and we spend less than 15,000 together. Now, I'm imagining that she's probably got a phone on a plan. But that's also, my wife also has her phone on her plan, which I was very upset about because my rule is that you don't buy anything in installments. We have the money to pay it all off at once. So next time she will buy her phone straight out. But we have obviously 2 SIMs. We're on the Ahamo plan, which is quite cheap. Like 50 gigs of internet a month. And we spend less than 15,000 yen together, even with my wife's phone on the plan. So again, that's something she could easily break down. Internet, 6,000. Not a massive deal. Medicine, 7,000. Now, I don't know what her situation is, so I cannot say anything about that. My daughter has braces. We have to pay about 4,000 a month for that because braces aren't part of healthcare. So I don't know if there's something that makes that that she has to take each month. So I'm not gonna question that. Electricity and gas, 15,000 average again. This seems quite high for me, because we spend about 16 or 17,000 average for both, and we have a four-bedroom house with two bathrooms, and a huge living room. Like, our living room is massive. And we have the garden's not really relevant, but it just goes to show kind of maybe the space that we have. And we spend about 16 to 17,000. Now, I imagine her electricity is going to be a bit higher because I'm sure she has her air conditioning on all day because the dogs are at home, which I completely understand, which is necessary. But for example, right now, maybe my daughter's in bed, air conditioner's on. My wife and dogs are in the living room with the air conditioner on. And I'm in the office with the air conditioner on. So we've got three air conditioners running at the same time, and we seem to be fine, around the same. So, and obviously we take showers each day. We do multiple laundry sets a day. We have a dishwasher. So I wonder if maybe just her air condition. And again, she lives in a 50,000 yen rent flat. So it's a bit weird. Water 3,500 on average. Should be much less than that because water is charged every 2 months usually, and we pay 3,500 every 2 months. And again, the space that we live in, and we have a hose which we use for the garden and the car. So household goods, cleaning, 3,000. Because the kind of funny thing about this, I think, is that she's obviously taken one of those kind of, because household goods, it kind of looks like when you see like the Japanese financial planning monthly outcome things. So hobby, games, music, 15,000, usually less. Now, I did see some replies to her saying that 15,000 is a lot, you should cut back. But if you're working all day, you do deserve to enjoy yourself a little bit. Like, I mean, if it's like just buying a couple of games a month, secondhand, or just one new game, or buying some albums, like you do deserve to enjoy yourself. I'm not gonna say, I would say cut back on the food costs because you definitely can. But yeah, I don't think that's a massive problem. Security 11,000. I have no idea what that means. Maybe that means the security cost for her apartment. Otherwise, I don't know. My security for my cameras on my house is about 1,000 yen a month. But maybe she has something tied to her apartment. Nails 5,500. She did make the excuse in her replies that said like she bites them, so she needs to get them done. I buy my nails. I just don't color them. Maybe traditional gender roles. I don't know, but yeah, I guess I don't. Maybe that's the cost. And again, if that makes you feel good, I'm not going to question it as long as you can afford it. As long as you can afford it. Then she does put a total of 272,000 yen, which is like 55,000 yen off the actual calculations. Now, I wonder if she was supposed to include health insurance and pension and residence tax in that, but she didn't mention those things. I'm guessing that she just forgot to put those in. And then she put, I need a salary of 301,000 yen to sustain that. I don't really know what that means because if the total is 272, why does she need 301 to sustain that? Maybe she's thinking about some things might cost more on some months, but she could easily cut back on the food and the phone. And if she manages her electricity better, reduce that as well. She could easily bring that down about 25 to 30,000. Actually, when I lived on my own in Gunma, it was curry every day. Now, this is where the kind of PR thing comes into it. And sorry, it's going quite long. So she says she needs a salary of 301,000 yen to sustain that. What she doesn't mention, savings, investment, pensions, like private pensions. She only talks about her fixed costs without any additional growth to her wealth or her future. Now, that just goes to show to me that she is not saving, or the assumption is that she's not saving or investing for the future. So if that's 300,000 yen just for that lifestyle, then of course, what is the benefit for Japan to give her PR to allow her to live here for her future and her retirement and stuff like that? If 300,000 is not enough to cover her post-working life, does that make sense? For example, me and my wife, we put about 200,000 yen a month alone just for NISA, cash savings, ideco, and stuff like that. That's 200,000. That's 2.4 million a year and more. If you know, we probably had more than that anyway. And if we're thinking 30 years from now, we're talking like over 100 million as the investments grow. So that's kind of like she's shooting herself in the foot, because she's explaining that she needs this salary to just maintain a basic lifestyle. So that's just going to show that she's not able to sustain a future in Japan if she wants to live here past retirement, because she's not even able to factor in any sorts of savings or anything right now. I hope that makes sense. That might be a bit rambly. You might have to listen back. I know what I'm saying makes sense. I'm just hope I'm explaining it in the right way. But yeah, what do you guys think? Like, a 300,000 yen salary is enough to live on in Tokyo. To be honest, if she cuts back, she could live on maybe 270, 275. But again, if we're considering permanent residency and retirement in Japan, it's obviously not enough. And Japan, and I don't think it's also good enough to say, well, there's Japanese people making that much money. Yes, they're also going to struggle in retirement as well. It doesn't mean that the government should allow more people to struggle that they have to cover, or things could go wrong. So just because Japanese people also do it doesn't mean that it's okay for you to do it. More wrongs do not make a right. But yeah, thanks all for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.